Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be learning about the artist Andy Goldsworthy. This is Andy Goldsworthy. He is a British sculptor, photographer, and environmentalist. Let's start by learning a little bit about Mr. Goldsworthy. Andy Goldsworthy was born on July 25th, 1956 in Cheshire, England. When he was a young child, he moved with his parents, Alan and Muriel, to a suburb outside of Leeds. At the age of 13, he started to work on a farm as a laborer on the weekends and during summer breaks. He became interested in the repetitive and meditative nature of the farm work. In his youth, Mr. Goldsworthy was certain he would become a farmer or a gardener, and that art would simply be a hobby. This may be in part because he was rejected from many art schools during the application process. However, in 1974, he was accepted into the Bradford College of Art and Design, where he did his foundation year. After 1 year at the college, he realized it was not the right fit for him. He went on to complete his education at Preston Polytechnic in Lancaster. It was in art school that Mr. Goldsworthy realized he could not stand to work confined to a studio, and where he began to venture into nature. Andy Goldsworthy is best known for his site-specific installations made from leaves, twigs, snow, ice, stones, flowers, and other natural materials. A site-specific installation is a piece of art that is created especially for a particular location. Each piece he makes is a collaboration between himself, the material, and the environment around him. Andy's work is also what we call ephemeral. Ephemeral means that his work is fleeting. He does not make his work to last forever. For Goldsworthy says, "My sculpture can last for days or a few seconds. What is important to me is the experience of making. I leave all my work outside and often return to watch it decay." For Mr. Goldsworthy, the experience of how an art piece changes over time in its environment is just as important as creating the piece itself. He is working with the idea that nature is always changing, that life is always changing, and that this change is beautiful. He will often make work with materials like ice, which he knows will melt. Or he will intentionally build a sculpture on the shore where the tide is sure to engulf it. Let's take a look at a few examples. This is a piece titled Ice Arch. You can see that it won't last forever. As soon as the sun comes out, it will begin to melt. This is a work titled Stones Sinking into Sand. Look right here. Can you see the line of stones? Here's a close-up. You can see them just sitting on the sand. Now let's look at the next slide. Look, you can see after the tide has come in that the stones begin sinking and disappearing. Look right here, they've disappeared into the sand. And here you can see the water beginning to engulf the cairn in this piece titled West Coast Cairn. See, here it starts out, you can see it all. And slowly as the water comes in, it begins to disappear. Location and material also play a significant role in Mr. Goldsworthy's work. It is essential to him that the materials he selects to create his work have a connection to the chosen location. This simply means he uses found materials. For instance, if Mr. Goldsworthy is out in the woods, he may build a sculpture from fallen branches he finds, or if he is on the beach, he may build a sculpture out of sand. It is important to note that when assembling his outdoor installations, that he only uses the materials that he finds around him. He does not use glue, nails, string, or any other unnatural material to create his work. You might see him shaping stone with a rock, gluing ice together with water, weaving grass, or simply creating a piece by laying various materials on the ground to create a pattern. Let's take a look at some examples. Let's start with the picture right here. Look, you can see right here, see how he's using these small little twigs to connect these larger twigs? And here, you can see Mr. Goldsworthy creating the piece ice ball. You can see how he's using pieces of ice and he's just kind of tapping them on each other to break them, to make the piece the right size that he needs to make the shape of the ball. And here, these pieces were created with dandelion flowers pinned with thorns to rosemary willow herb stalks. He has them on stalks so that they just float right on top. And here are 3 pictures of colored leaf patches where Andy simply has arranged the leaves in a pattern so that it creates these beautiful circles of color. Finally, one of the most important aspects of Mr. Goldsworthy's work is documentation. Since the majority of Mr. Goldsworthy's art is not permanent, he uses photography as a way to document his work. He will often take pictures of the same piece at different times to capture its essence and beauty in different stages. Let's look at some examples. Starting here, again, this is a piece made of ice. Since the piece will disappear so quickly, it is very important that he takes a photograph to make sure he has documentation of the piece. And here is a before and after shot of hogsweed stalks floating on a pond. Look, so here you can see how the piece, when he first assembled it looks. And here you can see it after he's left it for a while and how it's changed over time. And here are 2 pictures of Mr. Goldsworthy's piece, Storm King Wall. You can see they were photographed in different seasons and how different they look. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today to learn about Mr. Goldsworthy. Let's go make some art.